Okay, everybody. Can we start out and give a round of applause to the staff here at Beaches Manor? Great job. Food was very, very good. Thank you so much. Just a reminder, raffle tickets are still available. We're going to be drawing a winner at the end of the show after the final inductee. And again, please sign the memory books if you will. Thanks to Todd Dewan from the Sentinel. We've got an update here, a news flash. Smith Post won 4-3 tonight in the state championship American Legion tournament in Binghamton. They're going to play tomorrow at 7 o'clock in Binghamton. So, good job. Speaking of Todd, I'd like to take this time to recognize him. If he could please stand up. I got him in mid-bite probably, right? There you go. Let's give him a big round of applause, Todd. Todd and his staff there at the Sentinel did a tremendous bang-up job on features of each of the inductees. So please look back online. They're there. But we really appreciate all the coverage through the years, and particularly this year. Todd is also on the Hall's selection committee, so if you have some ideas of who you want inducted in the future, you can go bug him afterwards. I'd also like to thank two behind-the-scenes people, the museum's dedicated summer interns, Cara Bree Wiggins and Derek Puma. Could you please stand up? Hopefully they're around. They're up above here. They do a great job. You know, they've done a superb job in promoting the museum, particularly on social media. If you're on Facebook, please check it out. They've got some interesting artifacts of the day and also some trivia relating to the Rome Sports Hall of Fame, so please give it a look. Before we hear from our inductees, we have several awards to present, and each year we give out the Ruth Demers Scholarship Awards. Ruth was a longtime physical education teacher and coach. Give her a round of applause. Yes, great person. And she was one of the founders and driving forces behind this museum and Hall of Fame. Played a pivotal role in helping it flourish. So this is named in her honor. And last month at a senior award ceremony at Rome Free Academy, Dave Spiralia presented the Demers Scholarships to Amani Pugh and John Sherino. Amani was a three-sport athlete for the Black Knights, excelling in swimming and indoor and outdoor track. She was a New York State pentathlon champion the past 2 years, and also gave back to her community by helping coach 6 through 15-year-olds in summer track programs. John, who is part of that Smith Post team tonight that won, was also a three-sport athlete at RFA lettering in football, hockey, and baseball, and he was chosen as the captain of the 23-24 varsity hockey team. He volunteered at various sports camps and religious events. Again, they were presented with their awards last month, but we wanted you to know about them, and we wanted to congratulate them on a job well done. Each year, the Hall of Fame recognizes local sports figures who have given back to their community. The Frank Clark Service Award is named in honor of a dedicated Roman who was a longtime member of the Hall's Board of Directors and was active in numerous community endeavors, including the building of the Kennedy Arena. Our first Clark winner is Rodney Dixon. All right. Rodney was a superb athlete who earned Central Oneida League All-Star honors in football and stood out on the basketball court for the Rome Free Academy Black Knights. But as good as he was at playing sports, Rodney was even better at coaching them. And during a 3-decade-plus career that saw him coach hundreds of young players, it's apparent he had a positive and lasting impact, teaching them how to succeed not only in sports, but in life. Rodney started coaching 12 and under boys in the Fran Allison League in 1986. He later formed a highly successful AAU team known as the Adirondack Spirit, which enjoyed success throughout New York State. His checkers team, made up of players from Rome and Utica, wound up winning 23 of 25 local and regional tournaments from 1982 through 1990. In 1995, Rodney co-founded Midnight Madness at the Rome YMCA to provide wholesome late-night alternatives for at-risk youth. He convinced scores of kids to avoid the streets and participate in a variety of fun Y activities, and recruited adult volunteers to assist him with the supervision and mentorship. This program, which ran from 8 until midnight, was a rousing, life-changing success, and one of the reasons Rodney was named the Rome YMCA's Volunteer of the Year. Interestingly, when asked his most memorable experience as a coach, Rodney didn't mention any of the numerous victories and titles his teams won. Quote, "I hope I inspired youth, and I threw in a little discipline every once in a while," he said. His commitment and dedication to young people as individuals changed countless lives and his community for the better, which is why he is so deserving of the Frank Clark Service Award. Accepting on behalf of his big brother is another Rome Sports Hall of Famer, Robert Dixon.
That's easy for me to do. If Rodney was here, he would thank you a lot. He put a lot of work and hard effort into it. Him and Janet. Janet was on the ground floor with him there, and his son was out there as well. He's going to be inducted later on. And Rodney couldn't be here tonight, but when I get back to show him this, he's going to be awfully, awfully pleased. And I just want to thank the Hall for giving this honor to Rodney, and it's well deserved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert, and congratulations to your brother. Our second Clark Service Award winner is Bob Van Scoyk. Bob perfectly embodies the give-back spirit of Frank Clark. A 1970 graduate of Cortland State, he spent 33 years teaching physical education in the Rome public school system, with stints in elementary schools, Stroud, and Rome Free Academy. He also was an accomplished coach, spending 10 years guiding the Black Knights varsity tennis team and 16 years coaching varsity soccer. He also coached junior varsity soccer for 6 years and spent 11 years coaching junior high girls basketball at Stroud. His teams and athletes won numerous titles, including 6 Central Oneida League championships in tennis and 7 in soccer. Additionally, his soccer teams won Section 3 crowns in 1983 and 84. His 1976 COL championship team was captained by Rome Sports Hall of Fame inductee and current Major League Baseball commissioner Rob Manfred. Although he retired from teaching in 2003, Bob didn't retire from being heavily involved in his community. For the past 21 years, he devoted countless hours to Rome's Special Olympics program, coaching swimming for 19 years and bocce for 16 years, while also assisting in golf and basketball. Over time, he also found time to coach American youth soccer organization and girls softball teams in the town of Lee. Quote, "Bob has always led a life of service to others," said Karen Gaser. "He's always showed his compassion and dedication to everything he has undertaken, from coaching soccer and tennis to coaching Special Olympics, always making sure that everyone had opportunities to grow. I can't think of anyone who deserves this award more." Bob, come on up.
First of all, I'd just like to say this is a very important award. I thought about it, and one thing that always came to me as I was in some kind of a idea of what I was going to put down that everybody heard, I said, I can't believe that I actually went through so many years with so many kids. Thinking back, it had to be hundreds. And I was always really pleased to coach all of them, especially the last 20 years when I coached the Special Olympics. So I wanted to thank the Hall of Sports and thank you for this honor.
Thank you, Bob, and congratulations. Our next award is the Ellie Bruce Exceptional Team of Excellence Award. This honor is sponsored by Ellie, one of the founders of the Rome Sports Hall of Fame and a longtime member of the board. Ellie, could you please stand up so we can give you a round of applause? Where are you, Ellie? There she is back there. This year we are feeding the Rome Catholic High boys basketball teams from 1995 to 96 and 1998 to 99. In his illustrious 16-year career as RCH head coach, Jim Kenny coached several extraordinary teams, with two in particular standing head and shoulders above the rest. His 1995-96 squad set school and Rome scholastic records with 23 consecutive wins, resulting in the Wings copping Inter-Valley League and Section 3 Class D championships and a number 4 ranking in the final state basketball polls. That team was paced by Inter-Valley League All-Stars Brendan Ryan, John Sanborn, and Brad Cox, and helped Kenny, a Rome Sports Hall of Fame inductee, earn Section 3 Coach of the Year honors. Not to be outdone, his 1998-96 Wings also claimed league and sectional crowns and reached the state Final Four. They finished with a 21-4 record and a number 5 final ranking. Team was paced by Center State Conference All-Stars Kevin Ryan, John Simmis, and Dan Sanborn and Brian Cox. And Cox was named to the New York State Class D Final Four All-Tournament team. Both of these distinguished RCH teams spent some time during their respective seasons atop the state Class D polls. Now, choosing one team over the other is impossible. They both were great and deserving to share this year's Ellie Bruce Exceptional Team of Excellence honors. At this time, I would like to ask Coach Kenny to come up to accept the award and talk a little bit about those special teams. Coach?
Thanks, Scott. Congratulations to all the employees, well deserved. We as teams would like to thank the Sports Hall of Fame and the selection committee for choosing the 95-96, 98-99 boys basketball team at Rome Catholic as the recipients of the 2024 Ellie Bruce Exceptional Team of Excellence Award. And as Scott said, on a personal thank you note, honoring both teams together gets me off the hook with the players of both teams, because there are siblings on both teams and they're constantly pounding me about which one's the best. And I told them the only way they'd find out is when they come to my wake, I would have the name of the team in my coat pocket. And they wouldn't hear anything before that. But the Hall of Fame, thank you very much for getting me off the hook and putting them both in at the same time. On a serious note, the walls at the Hall of Fame are filled with plaques honoring players, coaches, and contributors. Now, with the inception of the Ellie Bruce Award, we have team achievements hanging on the walls. 95-96 and 98-99 RCH basketball teams accomplished milestones separating them from previous champions. The 95-96 team's milestones, as Scott said, were winning 23 consecutive games, establishing a city and a school record for the most consecutive wins and the most total season. This team also won the Center State Conference title and Section 3 title with a buzzer-beating basket at Manley Fieldhouse. At the beginning of the season, successful years seemed in doubt. Due to the incomplete renovations at Rome Catholic's gym, our entire preseason was held at St. Peter's Elementary School. Finally, the night before the first game, we were allowed on our own home floor. And from that point on, they ran off 23 consecutive wins at all different class levels of competition. 2 years later, the 89-99 team set out to establish its own legacy, which they successfully did. They recorded a record of 21-4, earning Center State title, a Section 3 title, and a state regional title, defeating at that time, the number one team in the state. This regional victory earned the team a number one state ranking and a trip to Glens Falls to the New York State Final Four team. Once again, I would like to thank you for the honor of receiving the Ellie Bruce Award. You want me to bring the kids up now? Yeah. Do you want to just go in order? I can. Or I was just going to go to the list I got. Whatever's easier for you. Okay. Yep. All right. If the players that are here would come up and receive their certificate, and then I'll read quickly the list of the players that were unable to make it because of the transportation chaos we have going. You want them over here?
Yeah, we could do it in front.
Whoever you want.
Oh, Brian Cox first. Brian Cox.
Yep. I'll have them just come line up. And then.
Guys, you want to go?
The 95-96 team very quickly with a record of 23-1. Brendan Ryan, co-captain, first team Center State Conference. John Sanborn, co-captain, first team Center State Conference. Bill McKeever, John Husser, Joe Maurer, Brad Cox, second team Center State Conference. Jason Lazinski, Ryan Sheedy, Wayne Schoolcraft, Mike Schoolcraft, Mike Carolla, Greg Crawford, Scott Valenti, and Merlin Dixon, the 95-96 team. The 98-99 24-4 team. Kevin Ryan, first team Center State. Brian Cox, state Final Four all-tourney. Jamal Cummings, Brian Hayduck, Jeff Murat, Kevin Clarkin, Corey Cox, Fred Cardinale, Greg Geddick, Dan Sanborn, second team, John Simmons, first team, Andrew Sluzars, and Michael Lintz. And that was that team of the 98-99. And quickly, Michael Lintz, the last name I read off, we label him the all-sneaker team. And I have to tell you a quick story. Final game, Manley Fieldhouse. Most kids, that's it. You know, you're making the finals it's in the state tournament, and he forgets his sneakers. We're in the locker room, Manley. Naturally, captains come up, Coach, Lentz forgot his sneakers home. So I'm not going to take him off some other kid. So we grabbed a hold of one of the custodians at Manley Fieldhouse. He took us down to the locker rooms areas where they lock up all their equipment during the off season. The best we could come up with was a fluorescent pair of indoor track spikeless shoes. So he wore those the entire Section 3 championship. Naturally, we won. After the game in the locker room, I said, Michael, you're not turning them in. Being a coach, superstitious, you're going to wear them until the season's over. He wore them in practice, he wore them in a regional championship, and he wore them in Glens Falls in the Final Four. And he's probably wearing them today somewhere, wherever he's living. But thank you very much for the honor of these student athletes. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you. Good seeing you again.
Congrats to those teams. Have you guys ever thought about like getting together now and kind of try to settle this on the court, or you're on it? Okay, all right. Okay, it's now time to hear from the Rome Sports Hall of Fame's class of 2024. And our first inductee is Glenn Bilby. One of the most talented athletes in Rome Catholic High history, Glenn excelled in hockey, football, and baseball, playing an integral role in helping the Red Wings win league, sectional, and state championships. A two-time Inter-Valley League first-team All-Star in baseball, he was a solid contributor to the best season in school history in 1983 as RCH went 19-4 and reached the state championship game. In football, he was even better, establishing school records for most rushing yards in a season and career. A two-way standout, Glenn also played linebacker, setting marks for tackles in a season and career for Coach Dennis Skibitsky's Gritters. People always ask who was the best football player you ever coached, Skibitsky recalled. Glenn Bilby, without a doubt, he said. But his best sport was hockey, where he became one of the first athletes in state history to make a contact sport varsity team as an eighth grader. A hard-nosed 195-pound defenseman for Coach Bill Fleet's Wings, Glenn garnered first-team All-League honors 4 straight years, while playing an integral role in RCH winning 4 Section 3 and 2 state championships. Glenn completed his career with the third most points in Wings history, a mark which still ranks 7th on the state's all-time list for defensemen. It was his heart, desire, determination, Fleet answered when asked what made Bilby such a great player. It was the same thing that got him 1,000 yards in football. Glenn went on to play hockey at North Country Community College, where he was named the conference's All-Star and the school's Male Athlete of the Year in 1987. He became a charter member of the NCCC Hall of Fame in 2017. After his college days, he played for the Copper City Chiefs, coached 2 seasons of hockey at Proctor High School, coached several seasons of youth hockey, and served on the Rome Youth Hockey Board of Directors. A recent retiree from the Central New York Psychiatric Center, Glenn and his wife Sharon have 3 children, Brendan, Bryn, and Ethan. Please join me in welcoming Glenn into the Rome Sports Hall of Fame.
Just before I get started with my speech, I just want to point out, since we're on the RCH basketball, Coach Mike Gady that's here tonight, his first ever state championship was not in basketball, it was in hockey as the athletic director, just to let everybody know. First of all, I'd like to thank my family, friends, teammates, coaches that came out to support me tonight. I really appreciate your presence here. Next, I'd like to thank the Rome Sports Hall of Fame for this incredible honor for being part of the induction class of 2024. I'm so proud of being part of a long tradition of exceptional people that received this honor before me. I would also like to thank my fellow inductees. It's quite the honor to be going in with you. When I look back on my playing days at Rome Catholic, in college, so many memories come to mind. Our 4 straight Section 3 hockey championships, our 2 state titles, our runner-up in the state title game in baseball, and all the great football games I played in. Playing in the Carrier Dome was quite the honor. But the thing I remember the most is the people that went through the journey with me. First, I'd like to thank my mom and dad that are looking down tonight and smiling. I know all the sacrifices that you made for me and my brothers, and I'm not standing up here tonight without you. Thank you, Mom and Dad. To my brothers, you see, I'm the youngest of 5 boys, and you know, it was quite the blessing to be the youngest sometimes. But it had its advantages. I was able to take a piece from each one of them and make me become a better athlete. My oldest brother, John, he was like the professor. We'd go on road trips to watch my 2 other older brothers play. He was always reading the hockey news, you know, or talking about different situations in games. So that's where I got some of my was able to think the game and learn about different strategies. My brother Mark, the next oldest, I learned about toughness and compete level and working hard each day to make yourself better. My brother Carl, I learned about being creative and having fun playing the game. And I also learned maybe how to take an extra penalty or 2. My brother David, the best teammate I ever played with. He taught me how to be excited and passionate about playing the game. He taught me how to work through tough times and how to be a leader and help everybody around you become better. To my brothers, thank you for always being there for me. To all my coaches I played for, starting with my youth hockey coaches. Too many to list, but one I would like to mention. Tommy Thomas Sr. He was a great developer of players, very supportive of his players, and he was one of the first coaches that believed in me. My high school coaches, who most are in the Rome Sports Hall of Fame, or should be. They're not only Hall of Fame coaches, they're Hall of Fame people. Coach Mike Davis, by far the best motivator I had ever played for. He's the one that started the winning culture at Rome Catholic. My other football coach, Coach Dennis Skibitsky, he worked as hard as any coach I've ever played for. I loved the confidence that he instilled in me and was able to give me the ball in the big games. Coach Jerry Freeney, he was my baseball coach my senior year. He was a fiery coach, fun-loving coach, but he was also my linebacker and running back coach in football. To Coach Bill Fleet, I'm not sure where to start this one. Not only did you lead us to hockey championships, but you also led us to the state baseball finals. You've been a coach, a mentor, a father figure, a friend, not only to me, but all the players that played for you. I know I became a better player under you and a better person. Thank you for all that you've done for me. I'm not standing up here tonight without you. Thank you, Coach. I love you. I would also like to mention some of my assistant coaches. First, the late Tom Barry, who's not with us tonight, but was one of the most supportive and nicest and kindest person you would ever want to meet. He is a huge reason why we had the success at RCH. We miss you, T-Bear. I saved this coach for last for a reason. Coach Gary LaBarge. He would joke and say, I was the lonely assistant. Well, that's why I put you last. But speaking for Coach Fleet and all our players, we're not 4-time sectional champions, 2-time state champions without you on the bench. Thank you for being a mentor, a brother, a friend. I'm also glad that my 2 boys were able to experience a little bit of what I enjoyed playing for you. To my family, my wife Sharon, thank you for all your love and support throughout the years, being my biggest fan, and you're an unbelievable mother and the rock of our family. And you always put other people first. I'm a better person and coach because of you. Thank you. I love you. To my oldest boy, Brendan, who's an engineer out in Rochester and head coach of RIT's Division I club hockey team, I'm proud of the young man that you've become and coach. I remember when he applied for the job there, coaching, he called us and asked my wife and I, do you think I'm ready? And the first thing I thought of was, heck yeah, you're ready. You learn from the best coaches in Rome. So he showed that he was ready. In the first 3 years, he took his team to a league title and Coach of the Year in his league. To my daughter, Bryn, who was here earlier but needed to leave, who is in education and training at a tech company out in Syracuse. She happened to be stuck between 2 boys, 2 hockey players. So I know it was always difficult for her at times, but she always supported me. I love her spirit, her huge heart, and she just got engaged and she'll be getting married next June, so our family is looking forward to that. To my son Ethan, who my wife and I call our old soul. He's a graduate from RIT, and he's now over in Utica in the physical therapy program. What I love most about him is how focused he is. One of the greatest moments as a coach and a father while playing at RIT, we were playing against Navy in his brother's first game as head coach. He went out and scored 2 goals and had an assist for a 3-1 victory. It was one of the proudest moments watching my 2 boys on the bench. To all the coaches I worked with, I know I can't mention you all, but there is a few I'd like to mention. Coach Billy Seymour, Coach Al Williams, who's here with us tonight, Gary Bartell, Ross Bartell, Tommy Yaxel, Chip Travis, Mark Eichner, Tracy Burris. Thank you for all your support, and I enjoyed working with all of you. To my teammates, some who are here tonight, to have great teams, you need great players. You need great work ethic. You need great commitment. And surround yourself with great people. That's why we were all part of the greatest era of sports at Rome Catholic High. Finish, I'd like to thank the Rome Sports Hall of Fame again, my family, friends, teammates, and I am truly humbled and honored tonight. Thank you. God bless.
Congratulations, Glenn. Our next inductee is Jessie Harris Boughton. Jessie was just 6 years old when her stepdad, Joe Vescuzio, introduced her to drag racing. Within 1 hour, I had fallen in love with the sights, the sounds, and the smells of racing, she recalled. Believe it or not, that's when I knew I was going to follow in his footsteps. By age 14, Jessie was a member of her stepdad's crew. By age 20, she was debuting as a driver. And although her journey down the strips lasted only 8 years, the Lee Center native and 2000 Rome Free Academy graduate established herself as the all-time winningest driver, male or female, in the jet-powered dragster division, winning more than 650 races and losing only once. She was a world champion for 5 consecutive years while competing for the Hanna Motorsports out of Enfield, Connecticut. From 2007 to 2010, she was licensed to compete in other classes, including the top fuel dragster category, the highest rank in the sport of drag racing, and the National Hot Rod Association. Jessie's achievements since retiring from racing in 2010 have been every bit as impressive. The wife of Christopher Boughton and the mother of 5 kids, Cruz, Tino, Maximo, Lola, and Lorenzo, Jessie is a certified life and business coach, an author, a sought-after motivational speaker, a podcaster, event host, and entrepreneur. Jessie owns Boughton Physical Therapy in Rome with her husband and is the founder of Millionaire Mompreneur Project, which helps women realize their business dreams in part-time hours without sacrificing the people or things that mean most to them. Please join me in welcoming Jessie into the Rome Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you, Rome Sports Hall of Fame. This has been such an honor from minute one. I think I'm still a little bit in shock. Kind of funny story is I've been told over the years, since I retired now, close to 15 years ago, that I've been nominated lots and lots and lots of times. And actually, I'm going to also start out with thanking Mr. Mark Lubeck. He's not here, but he is the person. He informed me. I get all the credit. I nominated you this year, which I loved getting to know. But I just trusted in the timing of me being inducted if it were ever to happen. And now is the perfect year because I know all the things that I want to say, and I'm going to do my best to stay on point here. But Glenn, I can guarantee you if I didn't think I was going to get emotional, I'm going to now because he started it. So I apologize about that. But I know that this is a lot. It's not just an event that you guys put on here at the Rome Sports Hall of Fame. It's a year, and it is a labor of love and a passion. And man, I am very infected in wanting to be a bigger part of the Sports Hall of Fame now after this experience. So just thank you to all of you here at the Hall of Fame. This has been just an honor. And I will say that it feels a little awkward for me to stand up here and be recognized in this capacity, which might sound silly because Scott rattled off a whole bunch of really great attributes and made it sound like I had this amazing resume, and I do, but I do. Thank you. Let me take a bow. No, but the reason that I'm here is because I had family first and foremost who told me that I could do anything that I wanted. And that starts first with my mom and my stepdad, Penny and Joe Vescuccio. So that is the number one thanks that I have to start with. I'm so I'm so grateful that they told me I could do anything, because I had a lot of self-doubt. I still do. In fact, just yesterday talking about coming here to this event, I'm like, I just can't believe that I'm being inducted. Still falling victim to self-doubt. But it started first with my parents, and even actually I met my husband the same year I started racing, so we've been around a long time now together. And he was just as every bit encouraging. He wasn't scared that I was in a predominantly male sport going out and chasing my dreams. He's like, sister, go get it. He had just started the physical therapy clinic, and that was his dream. And, you know, my in-laws are here, Sharon and Sock Spoutin too. They were right there with me as a young lady, like, go, girl, rah-rah shish kumbah, all the girls. And my sisters, I have Jillian, Marie, Megan, who have been so supportive of me over the years. And then I'm going to rattle off all the names because I have to make sure we get everybody in here. My brother-in-law, Aaron, and my sister-in-law, Amanda, and then my children, Cruz, Tino, Maximo, Lola, Lorenzo. Who am I forgetting? All my nieces and my nephews. I have some dear friends that are like family that showed up for me today, and I'm just like, who are you people? This is so kind. And they reminded me that that's who I am to a lot of people, and I forgot that. But you know, as I say all this to you of how excited I am to take this honor, I want to point out that back then when I got the opportunity to drive these fast race cars, they go 0 to 100 in less than a second, 5 G-forces off the start line, 0 to 300 miles an hour in about 5 seconds. So if you didn't understand the power that these cars had, yeah, they could get you to the finish line safely and as the winner, as they did for me many, many times, but they also could kill you. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. There was like no more in between. A lot of the things that I chased in my younger years in high school were in a way where I didn't go all in. I didn't give 100%. I didn't even understand that I wasn't giving 100%. I let self-doubt really take over and cause me to hide myself a bit. And since these cars had the power to kill me, you know, I knew that if I didn't show up 100%, that things might go awry. And so I'm very much about keeping things simple in life. I think that's one of the reasons I struggled in high school with my academics, is because everything was just a little too over my head, a little too overwhelming for me to understand. So I've always tried to keep things simple because simple is doable. And for me, I, back then, when I was going to drive these cars, understood two things, and that was that we only have control over two things in life. So this is true. I'm not just making this up, everyone. Science is validating what I say, but that is your belief and your action. Those are the only two things that we have control over. My kids, pay attention, because I want to make sure you hear as I stand up today what I'm saying. Although you've heard it many, many times before, it's important to me that someone leaves today with the reminder of, you know, whatever it is, some of us are further along. You're never too late to start. You're never too late to go after your dreams. But some of us are younger in this room. Some of us are younger. And I know I still have a lot of really big dreams that I want to go after. And so I think to myself, okay, what is that then that I need to do? Well, first and foremost, I think it's that you need to actually believe that that dream on your heart is meant for you, and that it was put there by God. That was definitely the case for me. I think that if it's on your heart, it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. And really then you just need to decide, are you willing to show up as the one the results you desire require long enough to get there? You know, we're going to hear a lot of great stories tonight from everybody who achieved really big things. And yes, we can all take a bow and be proud of it, but I really want to highlight that there's nothing different in any of us who stand up here than the rest of you today. You've all achieved probably great things that you may never get noticed for, or you may still again in the future. And if you're wondering how it is that you go after and you get it, it's really just deciding that you're going to believe that that thing on your heart is possible and it's meant for you. And then you're going to act accordingly as who it is that's required to go and get it, to go and create it. And you're going to show up for it consistently. And consistently means habitually, right? Because we become whatever it is that we are, not what we want. And I had focused for so long on my self-doubt and things like that. And thank goodness I had family and friends who were like, don't believe that, don't believe that, don't believe that, go after it. And, over the years, when I got to drive those cars, people would come to me and say, especially young ladies, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you do it? And even now, still today, so how did you do it? It really is that simple. I just decided to become a world champion before I ever did, both in my mindset and in my actions. And, I drove probably 1,000 races in my head before I actually ever started the engine of that car. I had really gone through all of, the consistent habits that were necessary so that then when I was driving that really fast race car that had the power to also kill me and an engine exploded or a parachute failed, etc., I could react accordingly in a very short amount of time. We were talking about earlier, I don't know if it was earlier tonight here or earlier today, I think it was Luber lost by 0.6 of a second. Is that correct? Okay. In a race. And that was very much how you could lose. If anybody understands like that, it's visually almost hard to see when you lose by 0.6 of a second, whether it's in a, physical race or a race car. And you still lost, right? You still won or you still lost. And it hurts either way, but it's so important that in that short amount of time, you have to know how to react. And in my particular case, right, when these cars would, not be running as they should, I had to be on my A game. And I won many races when I didn't have the better car, I just was the better driver. And that was truly only because I had done the work behind the scenes, done the reps, as they say. And, I still to this day say, God, what you've put this idea, this thought, this dream on my heart. How am I going to do it? And he just reminds me to show up as who it is that I need to, who it is, who I must be to achieve the results that I desire, I guess I should say. And for me, I've also found over the years that I still struggle with that. So just keeping it real candid here, like that sounds great, right? Become the one the results you desire require. But it's still tough when you're in the in-between and when you're struggling or you're feeling confused or you're feeling lost. And I'll just mention one of my favorite verses in the Bible is Proverbs 3:5. And I'm paraphrasing here because I paraphrase everything because I do not have the best memory, but it just says, lean not on your own understanding and trust in God and he will direct your path. And so when you're wondering as who it is that you need to show up as, right? It's in remembering whose you are, not just who you need to, but whose you are, and that is that you are a child of God and that you are special and you all have purposes here. And for some reason, God let me go live the most epic, fast-paced career as a part of my purpose early on in life, and now it's changed a little bit. Now I'm obviously in a fast-paced life of a lot of kids, and that is even tougher than driving those race cars, actually. I only ever wanted to be two things in life, and that was a race car driver and a mom, and as soon as I became a mom of like 3 kids, I was like, can I just go back to racing? Because that was a lot easier than this. But I pray that, you all are inspired by something that I shared today to continue to pass on in your family and your friends, to just remember that, you've all earned something for certain already, whether you get to stand up here or not. But I just thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for the honor. I'm still just in awe. And I'm really grateful that I got it before it was too late and I couldn't really enjoy it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you all.
Congratulations, Jesse. Our next inductee is Emmanuel Coleman Comito. Known fondly as Rome's Mr. Softball, Emmanuel Coleman Comito earned that moniker for his feats as a pioneering fast-pitch player and manager. A native of Crotone, Italy, Comito immigrated to the Copper City when he was young and grew up in the River Street area. It was there that he was introduced to the game of fast-pitch softball and soon blossomed into a star pitcher. His team began playing one led by Stan Deheimer, and in 1932, those teams joined 6 others to form Rome's first recreational softball league. The game exploded in popularity, and by World War II, Rome featured 8 leagues with nearly 60 teams. During his pitching career, which lasted until 1948, Comito won roughly 200 games while leading his Acme club to the City Fast Pitch title 7 times in an 11-year span. One of the highlights from that run was a charity benefit game at Franklin's Field that raised $2,500. In 1958, Comito returned to the sport as a full-time manager and guided Chicks TV and San Carlo Restaurant to several city and regional championships. The ace of his staff was a pitcher, Joe Louis, an airman at Griffiths Air Force Base, who averaged 14.9 strikeouts per 7-inning game, while recording a miserly earned run average of 0.04. Other prominent players from those teams, which won 4 Central New York League titles, included catcher John Dominic, as well as Warren Jones, Butch Jones, Mike Campanaro, Art Farr, Pete Pace, and Art Morgan. Comito San Carlo clubs wound up beating Eddie Fainer's legendary King and His Court squad 3 times in exhibition games, including in 1975 when Comito was officially honored as Rome's Mr. Softball. Comito passed away at age 81 in 1994. Please join me in welcoming his son, Salvatore Comito, who will be speaking on behalf of his dad.
Let me explain to you exactly what happened when I came across a book with all of these games in it that my father had played. Not only did he play, but he coached. And so I went down to the Hall of Fame and I spoke with Bill Fleet. And I want to thank Bill Fleet for everything that he did and the board of directors there to induct my father into that Hall of Fame. Coleman was a very dedicated individual. You mentioned Louis, Joe Louis. How many of you saw Joe Louis pitch? Not many, huh? Some of you did. Well, what happened was he came to our house because my mother had 4 rooms upstairs and rented rooms to people. He took one of the rooms, and then he saw my father play ball, and he wanted to pitch. And so my father took him under his wings and turned him into the best, knocking out the best people that could ever play the game. The King in His Court, he beat him. And then eventually Joe retired and he moved back to Florida where he lives off of the south of Miami on the Coral Beach, okay? But what it takes is effort. And my father always took the effort to do things. And he mentioned Pete Pace. Also mentioned Buddy Evans, because he played for my father. It's amazing to think that this would happen. My only problem is I would hope he was still alive so he could see it. He's got to watch it from up there down to here, okay? I thank you all for coming, and thank you for the support you give this group of people that still take their time to do what's got to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Salvatore. You mentioned Coach Evans did play. I can remember as a kid going up and watching those games. And if memory serves, Coach Evans did get a hit off Eddie Feiner. Is that not true? Yeah. Now, I also think that there was, now Eddie Feiner, for those of you who never saw or heard about him, he would do a lot of trick pitching and so forth, and would even like put a blindfold on. He was so good and so sure of himself. And he went out to short center field. I don't know if it was you, but there was somebody on San Carlo that he did strike out blindfolded from center field because he could make the ball do all these amazing things. But I do remember, I remember your dad leading them and beating the King in front of probably about 2,000 people at Hazelton Wright Park under the lights on a Friday night. Our next inductee, and I didn't forget you this time, Don. I got you in the right order. Is Don Diuto. A 1990 graduate of Rome Free Academy, Don excelled in football and track, earning a slew of honors along the way, including the Heisman Award his senior year as one of the top 5 football players in New York State. And yes, it was the award was presented the same week as the Heisman Trophy Award was presented to the top collegiate player in all of American football. The 3-year varsity football letter winner won that prestigious honor, as well as the Black R Award and first team All-State Big School honors following a senior season that saw him lead the Onondaga High School League in rushing with 1,471 yards and 13 touchdowns, while helping RFA post a 6-2-1 record. Don finished his career as the Black Knights' second all-time leading rusher behind fellow Rome Sports Hall of Fame inductee Tom Pugh. Don also distinguished himself in track, becoming one of the top sprinters in the section and the state, teaming with Eric Gray and Marvin Nelson to establish a state record in the 4x100 meter relay. Don continued doing Rome proud at Marist College, where he changed the trajectory of the Red Foxes football program by becoming the school's all-time leader, rushing leader, with 3,731 yards and 28 touchdowns. After graduating from Marist, he returned to Rome, serving for more than 20 years as a police officer before retiring in 2018 as a sergeant in the forensic unit. Don continues to work as a Rome school system school security officer, where he is a mentor to many students. When asked why he came back to Rome to become a police officer, he replied, "This community has given me a lot through the years, so it was time for me to give back to them." Please join me in welcoming Don into the Rome Sports Hall of Fame.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I was told by Coach Evans that I would be able to buy more time if needed. So if I owe anything at the end of this, please see Coach E, and he said he would take care of that. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone on the Rome Sports Hall of Fame Selection Committee and Board of Directors for thinking of me for this wonderful recognition. It is certainly one of the most meaningful and personal honors I have received, and I'm really proud and flattered to be standing up here in front of you all today. But it wasn't just about the call that I got, saying that I was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was about who I got the call from. I got the call from Coach Fleet. Approximately 27 years ago, it was Commissioner Fleet then who had called me and said that I'd be starting the police academy in 3 days. So 2 pretty special moments in my life were initiated by the same person. I thought that was pretty neat. I would like to congratulate all the individuals, inductees who are sitting up here tonight. Be proud of your achievement, as we follow a long list of some amazing athletes we are now part of. I'd like to thank the Beecher's Manor for hosting tonight. It's an amazing venue, and it's nice to have this event back in Rome. I'd like to thank all of you guys. Thanks you for taking time out of your busy schedules and helping support the Rome Sports Hall of Fame and recognizing the 2024 inductees. I'd like to thank my parents. You know, I took it for granted during my playing days, but after raising 2 athletes, I now see how much time and commitment is needed. My biggest fan, my brother Mike, who watched more game films than coaches, knew every single player in numbers, and that wasn't very easy in college because it changed yearly. I know I stand up here tonight being recognized as an individual. Without my teammates, this would have not been possible. All of you are the reason why I'm here. In my mind, my job was easy. You just got the ball and you ran. My teammates made me look good, period. Unfortunately, you know, I can't name all of you, but you all know who you are. However, I would like to recognize Dave Caldwell, Scotty Kerr, and John Thompson. Not only were you my high school teammates, but my college teammates as well. College transition on and off the field, no doubt, would have been so much more difficult without you guys. You know, people can say 100 positive things about you, but there's that one negative that's either said or implied that resonates with you. And for me, it was always, you're too small. You're not big enough to play that. You're going to get killed. That was imposed at every level I played. In Pop Warner, there was a minimum weight limit, and I'd have lead weights stuffed and taped to my girdle before weigh-ins to play. In high school, we all know that the quarterbacks wore the red jerseys. You couldn't touch the quarterback. Well, they also came out with the green penny. Against my wishes, I wore the green penny. Was that because I was too small? You know, mentally you were treating me like a piece of glass. So then I get to college. And the first day of football camp, you know, we were getting introduced to all of our college coaches, and I had a linebacker coach come up to me. Now, mind you, I had nothing to do with the defensive side of the ball. Nothing. This linebacker coach had played in the NFL for the Denver Broncos, so I thought he was a pretty intimidating guy. And he pulled me aside, and I remember this like it was yesterday. He said, "Son, if you ever want to play here, you better get bigger and stronger." So in my mind, I didn't say it out loud, but I said to myself, challenge accepted. Because I've been using that as motivation my whole career. For those of you who really know me in this room, know I am super competitive. I hate to lose at anything. And don't tell me I can't do something, because I'll work my hardest to prove you wrong. To all my coaches, there's too many to list. But some have gone on to a better place, and hopefully you're looking down and having a proud moment with me. Thank you for holding me accountable and pushing me beyond my limits. Not only teaching me the skills of the game, but also instilling me the values of discipline, leadership, being on time, never quit attitude, and fighting through adversity. All values that help me in adulthood. I have 3 special thank yous tonight, 2 of which went a long way of creating my legacy. To Coach Scotty Parsons, thank you for seeing something in me early in my career to switch my position to running back. Without your vision, there's no doubt I wouldn't be standing up here tonight. Coming out of RFA, I was recruited by several schools, some big, some small. You know, what school wanted to redshirt me? What school wanted to change my position? I was then contacted by Coach Party at Marist College. And let me tell you something, he should have been a car salesman. The way he sold that program and that school was second to none. I didn't know at the time. As a matter of fact, I didn't learn about this till about maybe 10 years after the fact. But it was Coach Paul Adey who had reached out to Marist and said, hey, you might want to take a look at this kid. And I think the response, Coach, was, yeah, I don't think they have a shot, something like that. Well, the rest is history. But if Coach Adey doesn't make that phone call, my life is completely different. See, college is where I went on to meet my beautiful wife, Michelle, and raise 2 of the most beautiful, athletic, smart daughters. So, Coach Adey, from the bottom of my heart, you know, thank you for making that phone call. My daughters would probably thank you for making that phone call. And this one might be up a little bit for debate, but my wife would probably, on most days, thank you for making that phone call. My last thank you goes out to my good friend, high school and college teammate, and Rome Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Dave Caldwell. Dave, unbeknownst to me, submitted my nomination to the Rome Sports Hall of Fame, which I'm sure took a quite deal of time and effort. I love you like your brother, Dave. The picture that you guys saw up there earlier, I picked that picture for a reason. Not because it was the only one I could find, but without my parents and coaches, who were like second fathers and mentors to me, I don't know if that picture exists. And allowed me to serve the city of Rome for almost 27 years now. So thank you to everyone who had a part of making me the player I was and the person I am today. Lastly, I would like to say there are so many amazing athletes out there that have pretty impressive resumes, but have never been inducted into the Rome Sports Hall of Fame. But it takes a nomination to even be considered. So please, if you know somebody who's worthy of this great recognition, please nominate them. Thank you.
Congratulations, Don. Our next inductee is Lubert Lewis. Lubert spent only 2 years at Rome Free Academy, his junior and senior years, but that was long enough for him to make a lasting impression. After he and his family moved to Rome from Virginia, Lewis quickly established himself as one of our city's most decorated runners in a variety of distances, as evidenced by success in short sprints, long sprints, and cross country on his way to scholastic, league, sectional, state, and national championships. While running for the Black Knights, Lewis earned 14 Section 3 titles and 4 New York State titles. At the state championship meet during his senior year in Kingston in 1997, he won the 400 meters, then topped that off with a victory in the 800 meters in a time of 1 minute, 51.03 seconds to break the state mark held by former Olympian Don Page. Lewis's dominance, along with the dominance of his teammates, enabled RFA to win the Class A Team Points Championship at the state meet. Lewis's success continued at Mohawk Valley Community College, where he continued breaking records while earning All-American honors 9 times. He would later specialize in the 800 meters, qualifying for the 2004 United States Olympic Track and Field Trials, missing the finals by 0.6 of a second while being hampered by a foot injury. Lubert enjoyed post-college success running for the Syracuse Chargers, an organization that many of you probably have heard of, and Reebok Boston. Please join me in welcoming Lubert into the Rome Sports Hall of Fame.
All right. I am not good at speeches, so I'm just telling you now it's going to be short. I want to thank my family that came, and I want to thank Rome Free Hall of Fame for inducting me and everything. And I really enjoyed running, and I remember one of my coaches, Billy Mays, had to make a workout for me by adding me running against 4x2 and 4x1 relay teams, so I could actually get really good practices and stuff. You reminded me of that earlier. It was actually pretty cool because it was pushing me very, very hard, and I enjoyed that, and got me where I was, and kept on going with that. But all through my real running career, going to the Olympic trials, the state meets, and everything has been a great pleasure and everything. So thank you all. And I appreciate everything, everybody's here and everything. All right. Thank you.
Congratulations, Lubert. Our final inductee is David Mellon. A 1985 graduate of Rome Free Academy, David starred in both hockey and football for the Black Knights, excelling on defense in both sports. A 2-year starter at linebacker, he was named captain his senior year, leading the team in tackles and earning first-team All-League honors as Rome won the Section 3 Class AA championship. Now, as good as Dave was in football, he was even better in hockey. He made the varsity his sophomore year and earned All-League honors his junior and senior years. In his final season, he was named captain and led RFA to the Final Four of the state tournament. David was the kind of player a coach loves to have on his team, always willing to do what was best for the team, said longtime RFA hockey coach and Rome Sports Hall of Fame inductee Dick Meese. He worked just as hard in practice as he did in the game. David led by example, giving 100% all the time. He was the player you always wanted on the ice in the most crucial situations. Dave continued his athletic career at Clarkson University, where he played 90 varsity hockey games and contributed to ECAC runner-up finishes in 1986 and 1988. His coach, Mark Morris, said succinctly, he was a coach's dream. After graduating, Dave played professionally for the Maine Mariners of the American Hockey League and the Johnstown Chiefs of the ECHL. He wound up putting his engineering degree to good use, eventually becoming the regional manager and senior vice president of the New York Power Authority, where he oversees a staff of 550 employees. Dave and his wife Julie are the proud parents of 5 children: Michael, Jenna, Nick, Katie, and Jack. Please join me in welcoming Dave into the Rome Sports Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for that very nice introduction. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. It was great catching up with folks I haven't seen for a long time, over decades, before this evening got underway. So I'm very glad to be here. It's such an honor for me to be here tonight. I'm truly thankful and humbled to be inducted into the Rome Sports Hall of Fame. It's certainly one of the most meaningful honors I have ever received, particularly because of the rich history and mission of the Hall of Fame dating back to 1982, which recognizes not only athletic achievement but also other contributions to the furtherance of sports. To be joining old teammates and coaches in the Hall of Fame in the town where I grew up, living and deceased, is very personal to me and brings back so many memories. For that, I'm very thankful. I'm joined this evening by my family seated right here at this front table: my wife Julie, our 5 kids, my daughter-in-law to be, my parents Roger and Ann, and friend Nick. My son Michael is celebrating his 30th birthday today with us. Thanks for being here, Mike. I'm also joined by a table of my close friends and parents of my dear friend John Modi. I played with and against these guys many decades ago, and we are friends to this day. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I would also like to recognize and say thank you to a few folks who have been very supportive in this process. First, thank you to the selection committee and board of directors for bestowing this great honor upon me. A special thanks to you, Bill Fleet, for communicating this great news to me months ago. I have known and admired Coach Fleet since I was a kid, yet never really had the opportunity to play for him, but sure wish I had. And also, thank you to board member Doug Arthur. Doug, thank you for all the assistance with the logistics and last-minute changes leading up to today. Secondly, thank you to my friend Lou Viviani for taking the time out of his busy days to put forward the nomination for this honor. Thank you, Lou. Over the past few months since being notified of the induction, I've reflected quite a bit about my whole story as related to sports and the life lessons I've learned along the way. Youth sports and high school sports in Rome college hockey at Clarkson, a taste of pro hockey within the Bruins organization, and 2 decades of coaching youth sports in Syracuse, where we live. If I only knew then what I know now seems to be the common thread of my thoughts. I suppose this is simply a recognition that wisdom is gained through experience and time. For me, as I look back, the highlights of what I have observed and experienced surround basically coaching and teamwork. 2 components of sports that are simple and complex at the same time. In my view, they are the bread and butter of any team and lay a foundation for the athlete that is beneficial into the future. Working together to ensure these items remain in focus is key. Like a building, the foundation is the thing that keeps it standing. I have learned that good coaches and coaches who are striving to do it right is important for success. The coach leads the way. They are instrumental in how everything goes and what is learned. They need our support without interference. The kids ultimately benefit from a better coach. I was so fortunate to have played for many great coaches, and it strikes me as to just how right they had it back then. For me, many of the lessons I learned through high school sports were with me as I coach my kids decades later. I'll give you a few examples. I'll go back to the early 1980s in RFA football, almost 40 years ago. The coaches were the late Tom Myslinski, the late Tom Hoke, and Don Bruce. The 3 of these folks were some of the greatest coaches I've ever played for. They collaborated mostly, challenged each other often. There was no I in team. Individual contributions were downplayed. Players were proud to be on that team. I can remember, as I'm sure my friend Paul Tironi can as well, wearing the jersey on Friday night before the game at school and how proud we felt. The coaches had it right. Coach Hoke, relentless repetition to achieve excellence. I can remember practicing well into darkness with one light on the wall of the old RFA. Okay, I can remember that. Practice means something. Coach Bruce, always honest and personable dialogue with the players, showing us how to do it, trusted by all the players. The glue, I think, that held the coaching staff together at times. He taught us the importance of communication and player relations. Coach Myslinski, a man who played the game at high levels. Old school, hard work, led us into battle, mental preparation. He treated every player the same. The team always came first, and gearing up for game day was something special. I called my good friend Paul Tironi, the other day, and I asked him, I said, Paul, if you could share with me the memory that rises to the top for you about RFA football, what was it? And Paul quickly brought me back to the hallway that we would sit in before the game. So it's a dark hallway. The only light in the hallway is an exit sign, just like that. The players are seated on the floor, and their backs are against the wall, and the trainer is applying eye black beneath the eyes with a pat on the shoulder pad. So this is the atmosphere that was created back then, and it sticks with me today on how right these coaches had it. It was Friday night lights at a minimum. There were other coaches as well who had an influence on me. Dick Meese was also one of them, RFA hockey coach. Coach Meese was calm under all circumstances, and he definitely left an impression with me about the importance of being in control. And there was another coach who I'm so glad I got to talk to tonight, Stan Evans. I only played 1 year for Coach Evans. And I was so glad to play that year. This was JV baseball because a lot of my friends were basketball players, and they had told us all about Coach Evans. But Coach, I wish I had played for you more because you got a great sense of humor, and I know you have great relations with all your players. You're trusted by the team, so. So as you can see, these coaching characteristics are just so solid. Not only did they make my experience great, what I learned helped me to pay it forward to my kids and others years later. After 40 years, the framework of great coaching hasn't changed much. Excellence in coaching should be celebrated. The commitment to teamwork that I was fortunate enough to experience in my playing days was reinforced when I began coaching my kids. I came to learn through the lens of coaching and my professional endeavors, work, that the most important things are not necessarily wins or individual achievements, although they are important. Teamwork is the foundation of it all. Things like the importance of contributing, being reliable, being connected to your teammates, and not being focused on yourself. These are actually life skills that extend well beyond any youth or high school team. Being able to integrate with other people to achieve a common goal is a quality that is universally valued. If the coach can take a little broader look at the development of the athlete as a person, he or she will quickly see the longer-term value of teaching this framework. Good coaches not only have a responsibility to compete, but more importantly, must orchestrate everything with teamwork as the foundation. It will serve the team and it will serve the athlete into the future. Lastly, athletes need to be individually supported to be successful. Transportation, extra calories, equipment, mental health, and more. Recognizing these additional needs is important. Not every athlete has the same resources, and that is why we should all have an awareness of this issue and be as supportive as any situation allows. Special thank you to my parents for always being there for me. I can recall as a peewee hockey player getting up at 4:30 in the morning and my dad bringing me to Kennedy Arena to practice slap shots. Before peewee practice began at 6 a.m., which was of course before school that day. So I can remember the blue line having approximately 50 pucks across the line, and it was about 4:45, and there was nobody in net. It was just me on the blue line, and I was firing those pucks. I can also remember my mom driving my equipment to Portland, Maine without much advance notice to support her son's opportunity to play in the AHL, and that is the tip of the iceberg. Thank you, Mom and Dad. In closing, I would like to say again how truly grateful I am to be honored this evening. I appreciate everyone listening to some of my, quote, takeaways learned over the years. I look forward to catching up with some old friends and coaches later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dave. Let's have a big round of applause for the class of 2024. You call? Here. Okay. All right, we're going to have the raffle ticket wrap up here. I'm going to turn it over to Dave Spiralia. I just want to thank the Rome Sports Hall of Fame for asking me to come in from Rochester to MC again tonight. Please visit the museum. Please support it in any way you can. Value this treasure that we have in our hometown. And please continue to help one another, you know, as we recover from the devastations wrought by that tornado. You know, stay strong, Rome. Thanks again, everybody.
And please give us all the money you have in your wallets, because we're a nonprofit and we don't get any money from the state or the federal government. At this time, I'd like to call up two special people, Paul Amoroso and Katie Van Scoik, to do our 50-50 and our lottery tree drawing. Paul and Katie. Must be Katie's not here. We just learned that Katie had gone home early. We have another Special Olympian. I'll get the gentleman's name as soon as he comes up.
Good job, Paul. Thank you. Good job.
Hey.
Good job.
This is 50-50. Lotto? Okay, so the yellow tickets for the Lotto tree, the winning number is 348896. There you go.
It's up on the table up there.
She's related to Sal, I trust her. And we have Sean who picked the 50-50 ticket, and the number is 657039. $137. $657,039. Yes, right there. Oh, okay. I want to see the ticket. Pick another one, Sean.
Oh, wait, we gotta get another one.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
657039. Okay.
He's a stooge?
I'm Curly. What's your name?
Is he one of the three stooges? Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for doing that.
Okay, and before we adjourn for the evening, I'd like to invite the Reverend Cedric Broughton up to do the benediction. And once again, we'd like to thank everybody for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2024, the Rome Sports Hall of Fame.
Let us bow together. As you, O Lord, have blessed our coming in, now bless our going forth. And grant that as we leave this time together, that we may not leave your presence, but be ever near us and keep us near you. Let us go forth in joy to love and serve one another. Amen.